Good morning, App Properties. Thank you for joining us again today. It's Tuesday, March 31st, and I'm here with Kevin Van Eck for another morning of coffee and productivity with Amy and Kevin. Hey, Kevin, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Amy. It's good to see you. I'm glad we're probably stocked up on coffee. I think we've had more coffee in the last 3 weeks than I've had in the entirety of my life. But it's good to see everybody. Thanks for joining us. Today we have a really great topic. In true fashion, as government operates, we understand that oftentimes everything they put out is confusing. One of the things we're going to try to do today is clarify what Mike has been talking about over the last several days in terms of the CARE Act, in terms of the stimulus package. And so there are a lot of details in there. We're going to streamline it and make it easy to digest today. And we have two special guests with us. You want to introduce them, Amy?
Thanks, Kevin.
How special?
I'd like to welcome Mike Golden and Thad Wong this morning. There have been a lot of conversations about the new stimulus package that was announced last week and what that really means to our individual brokers. So Mike and Thad have been providing some great communication as the details unfold. And so we've asked them to join us this morning to talk a little bit more about the CARES program. So welcome, guys. Thad, I'm not sure where you're located, but it looks cool.
Thad's on
I am on a lily pad.
Thad is on Planet Wong.
No, this is my own personal lily pad. That's the water right there.
All right. In true fashion, I think this is going to be a fun dialogue this morning, but I do want to kind of jump right in because there are a lot of different things that I know are being asked out there about this new program. So what is the App Properties overall game plan with the stimulus package, the CARES Act? Can you guys share?
First of all, I want to thank everyone for reading and wading through all the emails I've sent. This is a very, very fluid situation. Things continue to change, so we will continue to communicate as we learn. Our game plan overall is to make sure that we are the resource for all of you to analyze all the programs that are being offered and give you the best advice as to what you should be applying for and how you can maximize the benefits that are being offered by the government right now.
That's great. So can you tell me at a high level, can you explain the two programs that are available to our brokers and what they need to do or can do right now?
Sure. So there's two main programs right now that we feel like some or all of us can benefit from. The first and the simplest one is unemployment. The federal government has put in a program that allows independent contractors to be eligible for unemployment. Everyone should file for unemployment now. We can all make an argument right now that we are at least underemployed if we're not unemployed. So even if you're still getting some commission checks, your business is slowed down, you're considered underemployed, you can apply for the program and you can receive unemployment benefits starting April 1st. So we would advise you to do that. We've sent detailed directions as to how to apply for that program. Please follow them. And if you have any questions, please look at the FAQs that we've sent out. And then ultimately, if you have a question, you can email it to stimulus@appproperties.com. That one's the most simple one. Right now, according to the program, you would be eligible for benefits through July 31st with the federal subsidy, which will provide you with 47% of your earnings, which is generally probably going to be your 1099 earnings from 2019, up to I think in Illinois, you max out at about $480 a week, plus an additional $600 a week from the federal program. So if you max out, you would get a little over $1,000 a week in unemployment. So that's the first program. Everyone should be applying for that now. The second program is the one that we're still understanding how it's going to roll out, and that is the Paycheck Protection Program, or the PPP program, as it's been referred to. That program is going to be run through the SBA. It is going to be a SBA loan program where part or all of the loan could be forgiven. And the details for that program are still coming out. The application has not even been released, and the process has not actually been released either. The SBA has until April 12th to release all of the guidance so that people can figure that out. We are going to be working with at least 2 banks to be helping facilitate loans for people that want to go through the PPP program. We are going to analyze the program once we have all the details, and we will give you the best advice as to whether you should just stay on unemployment, whether that's going to maximize your dollars, or whether you should apply for the program. The way we see it right now is if you have, especially if you have assistants or people on payroll, it's going to make sense for you to apply for the PPP program. If you are a sole practitioner and you aren't paying anybody else, you may end up actually making more money by staying on unemployment regardless of your earnings, but we will get detail out as soon as we have that information available.
Hey, Mike, for agents that are filling out the unemployment, which everybody should be doing now, has it been challenging, or do they have questions when they're filling out the unemployment application?
It has been incredibly challenging. It's a great question. So here's the problem. The state of Illinois system is not set up yet to take applications from independent contractors. So yesterday evening, we sent out a step-by-step process for how you apply with screenshots that at least take you through and show you all the things you should be checking. The reality is pretty much every independent contractor is going to receive a rejection or in saying that they get zero benefit. Our understanding is that the state of Illinois will still process your application. They will send you a letter with directions as to what you need to do so we can get it corrected, and then your benefits will kick in. You should not lose out on the benefits, but there'll probably be another step that you're going to have to follow.
So if the agent applies and gets rejected, they shouldn't feel frustrated because their application has easily now been set up and it'll be much easier to move forward.
That is our understanding right now. Again, this is a continually changing situation. So as we learn more and our attorneys are talking directly with the state to make sure they understand the process, we will continue to update you. But the advice we've been given by our counsel and the advice we're giving all of you is apply, follow the steps, fill out the paperwork, understand that you may get something that says you get zero benefit. In fact, you almost for sure will. And you may end up getting a rejection, but we have been told you will receive a letter in the mail at a minimum that will explain the steps that you have to take in order to collect your benefit.
And why wouldn't somebody apply for unemployment right now? Why wouldn't one of our agents apply?
You know, I don't know why anyone would not apply right now. This is an opportunity that the government is putting out there for people who are unemployed or underemployed. And as I said before, I think every one of us can argue that we are underemployed right now. So I would take advantage of the program. The government wants to put money in people's hands so it can get spent, so you can cover your rent, pay your mortgage, buy your groceries, and then hopefully get back to normal and start spending money again. So I would take the money and we'll figure it all out later.
And from the analysis that we've been doing, we are thinking that the unemployment at the end of the day might be more beneficial than the PPP for most of you. The second piece of it, why you want to apply today, is you're uncertain exactly how impactful and how long the slowdown will be. It is incredibly likely that there will be a second stimulus, arguably the same size as the first, and ideally it will be distributed through the exact same process, through the unemployment or the PPP. And the easiest way is going to be through the unemployment because that's the streamlined approach that's been in existence for a long period of time. So the idea is that in the second stimulus, which is likely to start being negotiated shortly, they'll distribute additional sources of funds for people through that program. So not applying for it, there is no good reason not to apply for it whatsoever because the government wants to stimulate the economy and send money to people whose businesses have been impacted. And this is the process that you go about doing that. It doesn't have a stigma to it. People have called me and said, I've never been on unemployment. I never thought I'd be on unemployment. You know, all you have to do in your mind is change the name of it and that changes it for you. But that's the process they have for distributing cash, which is needed to stimulate the economy right now.
Great. So going forward with that, that's all really good information. One of the questions, Mike, that I just want to make sure we touch on that came when people were applying for unemployment was who they put as their employer. I know you put an email out about it, but can you clarify that, what they fill in that section when they do apply?
Yes. So when you file for unemployment, first you're going to apply individually. Don't put down your LLC name. If you're ever an S Corp or an LLC, put down your name individually. And then you should put down yourself or your LLC or your S Corp as the employer. You should not put down at properties as the employer. If you've already applied and you did it, don't worry about it. It's just going to be additional paperwork that we have to go through and respond back to get corrected. But regardless, just put down yourself or your S Corp as your employer.
So, Mike, one other thing too, I think just to clarify is, so we're saying everybody should really move forward with unemployment. And I think as things begin to roll out and we get more information on the PPP, we will be helping some of those individuals determine whether or not that should be a path that they should go down. Is that correct?
Yes, we're going to do an analysis for everybody and try to figure out what's the best route, what's going to maximize your benefits. From quick back of the napkin calculation, for the PPP, the way it works is you can get 2.5 times your annual payroll, which would be yourself, and then any assistance or anyone that you pay, 2.5 times your monthly, payroll, as a loan that could be forgivable as long as that money is used towards qualifying expenses. The hitch is you have to use that money over an 8-week period of time. So if you get 2.5 months of pay, but you have to pay it out in 8 weeks, and everyone caps out, individuals cap out at $100,000. So you can't, you can't use anything more. Even if you made $1 million last year, the maximum any individual could make and get a loan for would be their monthly equivalent of $100,000 in salary. So because you have to pay it out in 8 weeks, you have to pay it out for qualifying expenses. So what are qualifying expenses? Obviously, the big one is payroll. There are a couple of other expenses that are also in there, which includes rent or mortgage, but we believe that's just for your office. So if you don't have your own office, the only qualifying expense may be your payroll, which means you'd only be able to get 8 weeks of a forgivable loan. Yet you can collect, it looks like, about 18 weeks of unemployment. It just may make sense, even if you make over $100,000 a year, it may make sense just to go on the unemployment for 18 weeks because you're going to get more money out of it, and there's going to be a whole lot less paperwork than if you have to apply for the PPP. But we are going to do an analysis for every person. We will send you our calculation and send you the information if we think it makes sense for you to apply. But if you do have assistance or anyone else you pay, almost certainly it will make sense for you to apply. So we would encourage you to gather as much information as you can about your payroll. You're going to need your last tax return, your 1099. And we've sent guidance out there about what you need, but please just pull together all that information and have it ready. So when the application comes out, we can help you put it together.
Yeah, and the only thing we ask also is that a lot of effort and energy is being put into this while information coming in is changing for the PPP. And we just ask that you thoroughly read the emails because we've gotten a lot of emails with questions on what to do. And some of the questions are actually in the emails that we've sent. So we know we raised 3 emails. We are getting more emails than we've ever had in our lives. You guys are probably getting less, I'm anticipating. But if you can just take the time to please read the emails, energy is being put into those, and the information is really important. And if somebody sends us an email where the question was in the email that we sent, we know you didn't read the email.
We are doing our best to respond to everybody, but as Thad said, I would say we are getting an overwhelming amount of email and questions. So we apologize if it takes a little bit of time, but we really encourage you to please read the detail. We're going to try to keep it as simple as possible for everybody because we know it's stressful and it's complicated. But we're doing our best given the situation that we've got and given the fact that we are dealing with the U.S. government, which is not always the most simple, easiest process in the world.
And one way to look at the unemployment also, the side of it, is that everyone's business is impacted, as we've said. We're seeing already contracts down in the first week of this by 50%. So what do you need in order to stimulate your business to make sure you're less impacted during a downturn? Well, you need to grow because there's going to be less available real estate for agents to sell. So if you don't need that income from the unemployment and that's your basis for not applying for it, that's not true because you're going to need to increase your marketing dramatically in order to grow your business in the coming months. So you can look at the unemployment checks that you're receiving and the additional piece going through the CARES as a way to reinvest in your marketing and the growth of your business, which is a necessary investment for you to sustain yourself. So I can't stress anymore. I've had some lengthy conversations with the stigma involved in unemployment with some of you, and I've explained it in detail that if you just call it something else, but it's a reinvestment in the growth of your business. And so this money needs to be spent. And right now, I've also talked to a lot of you that are bored. You shouldn't be bored right now. I'll send out later today a great video that Brian Bomba sent to his clients. There are a lot of new ways that you can communicate with your clients. And I can't stress anymore, if you're not talking with your clients right now, meaning you're just sending email and text, it's not enough. People want to see your face. They want to know that you're working. They want to know you're cleanly shaven and in a space that you can do clear work. Unlike, did you shave, Mike?
I have not seen. No, it's gray, so it's not showing up. And I HD enhanced myself to try to take out some of the beard. But no, you and I are going to have the beard challenge, and then Thad and I are going to go to mustaches.
Yeah, in tribute to my dad. Okay. Amy and Kevin, back at you.
Looks like Amy and Kevin, looks like you shaved. Amy, you're always perfectly coiffed.
I try.
Amy always
I try.
looks good. Yeah.
I miss putting on a sport coat a lot right now. I miss getting dressed for work. I mean, obviously, I'm not really dressed for, but.
All right, thank you for joining us. Hopefully this has been clarifying. I think a couple of key points just to reiterate. Number one, watch for emails as they come. Make sure you read them. We're going to clarify everything possible to make it as simple as possible. So watch for those. In terms of questions, make sure you thoroughly read the emails before you ask them, just to make sure that there's not an answer immediately right there for you. And then if you do have questions, we do have an email set up, stimulus@atproperties.com, that you can reach out to. Of course, that email inbox is getting flooded. We're getting to those as quickly as possible. And then, as always, as we say on every Coffee with Amy and Kevin, make sure if you have questions, comments, concerns, or topics that you want to cover, make sure you send it to coaching@atproperties.com. That's atcoaching@atproperties.com. And thank you, Mike. Thank you, Thad. Amy.
One last thing is that we are taking all the questions coming in stimulus, and we are sending out an FAQ on that, which should fill in, a lot of your questions. That'll make things a heck of a lot easier. And our goal through this, when you started this segment on, what we're trying to do, is we want to be the concierge for as much stimulus as possible. Our goal is to help each of you, every single agent, fill out the right paperwork, which entitles you to the greatest amount of stimulus from the government. That is our goal, is to be that concierge. So wait for us. We are not falling down on the job. If you have a question, trust us. We are on top of it more than you could possibly imagine. This is where we're putting a big amount of our effort. Mike's doing a great job negotiating with 2 different banks to help with this. And we have full applications being detailed out to help you every step of the way. But this is our job. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to be your concierge to help you get as much as possible.
Yeah, so
great. I do have one more question for you too. Sorry, Mike. I want to make sure we cover this because it's really important. A week has changed since we've all talked together. When Thad was on last week and Mike, we talked over the weekend. What is the outlook now? What is @properties' overall outlook moving forward?
Our outlook as a company or for agents?
Yeah, I think our outlook, perspective in the environment we're in right now. What can we, I know it's impossible to predict what's going to happen and how long this might last. But what is our outlook? If an agent was looking to us and they said, hey, what do you think? What would your response be?
Well, historically, in all recessions, and it's easy to look at this as a recession right now with the amount of unemployment happening, is that housing has increased in value in every recession of the past 7 outside of 08 and 09. And the reason it didn't appreciate there is the housing caused the recession. This is not a housing crisis whatsoever. It's a healthcare crisis that's affected every single business. And I can tell you that because it's primarily not a banking, automotive, large corporate problem, it's a small business problem. The injection of stimulus is going right to the consumer, which is helping them get back on their feet. When it comes to pricing and supply and demand, we don't anticipate, as I said earlier, that there's a pricing issue. There will be people that no longer sell, that want to stay put, but there are also going to be a lot of people that will need to sell, and there's still the same number of people that want to buy outside of the money that's been lost in the stock market. So we do think that there's going to be a period of ramping back up, albeit there will be some intense demand issues right when the shelter in place is lifted of people that are wanting to get out there. So right now, going back at it, it has to do with marketing and the extra time being spent on marketing. Somebody sent me a question about what to do without a lot of money to invest in marketing. And you guys have made some great suggestions. We'll continue to make great suggestions, but allocating the amount of time to your clients. So as this becomes easier to navigate, we'll be out there selling more real estate. And our goal, like we did in 2008, 9, and 10, is that properties grew and we provided significantly more resources during the downturn. So as the recovery happened, we dominated and our agents dominated. We're going to do the exact same thing this time. We're not hibernating. We're looking at growth, and we're looking to do everything possible so you guys can use our resources to grow your business. That's our goal. We're working on it right now, and we'll start launching new things and start announcing new things in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I mean, we feel like the downtime is going to be a little bit longer. Obviously, we've extended the social distancing, so essentially most businesses are going to be closed probably through April 30th. Which means we've got a month to really ramp our efforts up. So we encourage everyone to put a plan together, follow our guidelines, engage with all the programs, and as Thad said, engage with your clients now to get ready to hit the ground running, because as soon as this is lifted, people are going to want to get back to life, and they're going to want to start to get back to normalcy. And we feel like there'll be an awesome opportunity out there, but we've got to be ready for it. So just please continue to engage in our programs, and stay engaged in your business. Don't get bored. Don't give up. It's super important that you stay engaged and you stay motivated. And when we come out of this, you'll be better for it.
Yeah, and some of you asked questions also about the front desk staff and the closing of the offices. So I talked with every front desk person this weekend. They're all doing well. It never feels good, the furlough portion of it, but because of the unemployment and the stimulus, for a lot of them, their income has actually grown while they are not working, while they're on furlough, while the offices are closed. So for people that are worrying about them financially, ironically, it's a bit of a benefit, albeit none of them are excited about being home. They're feeling the exact same thing you're feeling, but they're all doing okay, and their spirits are decent. A few of you reached out to them. They don't have access to their At Properties email. That's part of the law of being furloughed. But we are reaching out to them and communicating with them to make sure that they don't feel isolated and not connected with the company.
Great. All right. Thank you for the additional information. I think it was important to cover that. Thanks for joining us. And we'll have you on again very shortly. And really appreciate it. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Thad.
Thank you guys for doing this. Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You too.